What's going on, everybody? It's a very, very special video. This is the first episode of the Conversations with Chaz podcast. I'm Chaz Childers, and today my very first guest is a very special friend of mine, good friend, my first roommate at Clemson, Cole Wachowski. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, bro. I appreciate you having me on. I know you sounded excited about starting your own podcast, so I'm very honored, humbled to be the first person you talk to, and I know you got a good plan for a conversation today, so I'm excited to just have a strategic, meaningful conversation.
Of course, I'm super excited to get into it. And, I told you I wanted you to be my first guest because you've been a big part of the social media content journey. I know you've really inspired me to start making content. You've been very bold, not worry about what people think about putting yourself out there and your thoughts and your mindset. And so, yeah, it's a big reason I wanted you to be my first guest on here.
Thank
Because,
you.
yeah, of course, when hopefully, like when the platform grows a little bit, check out YouTube. We have some hidden gems, man. We've got some videos with like 20 and 30 views, man,
We let
sitting
some
in both of
gems.
our YouTubes.
Yeah, we let the gems out of the vault, but they'll have to marinate and people maybe see them later, right?
Yeah, those will be the ones people find and they comment and they're like, "Yo, who's here in 2040 right now?"
Dude,
Or-
exactly, bro. It's like I know you'll be big in whatever space you try and get into on the internet because you work super hard. So it'll be crazy like in 10 years where I know you'll be an authority in some space. It'll be like, yo, like if you scroll all the way down to Chaz's YouTube, you'll see like him. And it's like you said, it'll be nostalgic and cool, like looking back.
I appreciate that, man. You as well. Big
Yeah,
things on the way. So
thank you,
let's
bro. Of
talk a little
course.
bit about that. Just graduated. Congratulations.
Thank you, bro. Thank
One,
you.
yeah, one, how's it feel? And two, what's next for you?
It feels good. It's funny, like the typical route is like go to college, get a job, and I feel like people can kind of fall into a weird negative thought cycle after they graduate because everyone you run into who's older is always telling you, "Oh, and it's from a good place, like have fun when you're young."
Mm-hmm.
And they're always like, "I wish I could go back to college." And something you touched on, which I thought was really a very astute point, is like that's a weird way to think, right? When you're just constantly looking back on a certain time in your life. And I feel good when I graduated and I'm very much looking forward to being in a different environment. I got to
Mm-hmm.
a point where I matured in college and I've just kind of realized the weekends were just, there was just too much free time. I'll say that. And I felt like the amount of energy I had could be put towards more meaningful work. And as I've
Mm-hmm.
gotten older, I've kind of realized that. And I definitely think college could have been done in 2 to 3 years, especially as a business major. Um, and maybe not needed four, but nonetheless, I enjoyed my time there. I'm very excited and happy that I graduated.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I finished in 4.5, so I think I could have sped it up a little bit too. But no, it's interesting because I mean, you and I have talked about this quite a few times. Just the idea of, yeah, like your mindset is almost graduated before you did. Because I felt the exact same way. If I'm correct, if you feel that way, I feel like you were out of college before you were actually out of college. You know what I mean?
That's exactly how I felt. And it almost makes you feel trapped, right? Because you have all these
Hmm.
ideas you want to act on and all these things you want to do. And like you want to do meaningful work. I mean, say you're someone who's a productive person, right? And you don't enjoy like the lifestyle of, okay, I'm gonna do my schoolwork and then get blackout drunk on the weekends. If you're someone
Yep.
who likes taking care of yourself, likes being productive, likes being involved in meaningful things, having a community,
Hmm.
kind of in that mindset where like, is college the best place to do this? And I
Yeah.
think for a lot of people, the answer is no, and they get very sad in college and they feel trapped. So I 100% agree with you because, granted, you can find meaningful things to do in college and ways to get involved, but I think there's just something about the environment and social scene in general that makes a lot of young people very sad and feel
Hmm.
trapped if they don't know exactly why they're in school and why they're
Hmm.
doing it. Because we always come back to like, what's the purpose of this? Like, why? What's the point? And when
Yeah.
you really have a solid answer to that question, I feel like, I had a pretty decent one, but I feel like a lot of college students in America are really struggling. And that's why we see like a lot of kids doing drugs in college and, acting out is because they don't feel like a sense of purpose, if that makes sense.
Yeah. 100%. I like the way you put that too because if you do take someone who's generally very productive and has a good head on their shoulders, it's almost like they're fighting with their environment.
Yeah,
And it hurts. It's hard to see because you have all these goals and ambitions, but you see everyone around you kind of throwing that out the window for 4 years. And it's hard because I still think college is very, very valuable. I met people that, I'm gonna be friends with forever, and my job came out of it, not even from my degree, but necessarily, but because of the people I met, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And I think there's so much like tangible skill that you can get from college, but it's just weird because it's not found oftentimes in the classroom. But I know exactly what you mean because it's hard when you try to, because I am guilty of this. I tried to live up to a standard of like this party animal for a long time when I
yeah.
really think I had a lot more in me than that, and I wondered why I was so sad. Like why am I upset? Why am I frustrated? Why am I anxious? It's like, well, because I'm trying to live up to these like expectations of just being reckless and, like being crazy. And
Yeah.
it's super hard to really, really lock in school because you're gonna have to tell a lot of people no a lot of the time,
Yeah.
and people don't like that. And then who knows, like relationships could get weird. Like you never know. It just gets hard when you're doing something and everyone wants you to do something else, and then especially if you were doing that beforehand. Like if you go to school and I think that's easier. I think it's easier to go to school and like lock in and just never expose yourself to the lifestyle. But once you're in it, it's hard to get out of it.
Oh yeah, of course. It's like it's temptation, and it's like you said with like relationships too. Once because you change so aggressively in college because the environment forces you to change
Mhm.
to just basically like survive and like navigate all the different social dynamics of college and like all the judgment you're getting. It like puts pressure on you to be someone. So you're always like changing. And it's weird because when you change so aggressively, people you thought you were your friends don't really, you may
Mhm.
graduate with different friends or slightly different friends because I think simply put, your friends are people you have common interest, right? So as soon as you and your friends have different interests, it's like you it's not even like a hateful thing or like a malicious thing. You just naturally start drifting apart. So that's weird. And then a
Mhm.
second point too, like you said about saying no. I think Conor McGregor said this back when he was like when I was following during his come. I take a lot of inspiration from him. He's why I started, learning some self-defense stuff. I take his work ethic from his whole persona. I don't think he's like the best person on earth, but I think he's got a great work ethic, which I
He's
respect.
growing on me though. He's
Yeah.
growing on me.
Yeah, he's kind of grown up, a little late bloomer growing up.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
funny because he said anxiety comes from doing something you know you're not supposed to do, and that is so simple, right? But like
Mhm.
you said about saying no, we kind of have an innate feeling as human beings of like, am I doing the right thing? Like, say I took $5 from your wallet, I would kind of feel sick in my stomach, and you'd know in your heart like you shouldn't have done that. And I think that's what a lot of kids struggle with too, is like they're kind of out partying, but they know they shouldn't really be there. There's so many
Mhm.
other things that need their attention, whether it be homework or like calling their parents because they haven't like talked to their parents in 5 days. And then you're
Mhm.
constantly like fighting this like temptation off, and then it just causes you to be very fearful and like angry and anxious. So
Mhm.
I think college is hard with that. Like you said, like learning to say no is a very big deal.
Yeah. You know what would be a very, very interesting experiment. I don't want to say experiment or study, but think about how many people are going out just because their friends are going out. And think about how many of those people are going out because they think that the other people want to go out. How many people actually genuinely really want to go out all the time?
That's a
There's
good
a
one.
time and place, obviously. I'm not saying that you have a bunch of like 21-year-old people and none of them want to go to the bar. That's not what I'm saying. But how many people halfway through the year are so drained from doing the same thing?
They've been sick 3 times from drinking too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, my camera's like spazzing out. I have a touch screen, and so like it's like tweaking.
Is
Tech,
stabilizing itself.
yeah, it's like well, it's like it thinks I'm like touching the screen. There we go.
Okay.
Technical difficulties, everyone.
You didn't move at all for me.
Okay, sweet.
Or
Yeah, no,
you
but
didn't
it
really,
was like on my screen and it was like going crazy.
yeah.
So I was like,
It's probably touching the screen, right? Thinking you were
yeah,
touching.
well, it thinks I was touching it too, which is super annoying, but technical difficulties. Anyways, whatever, we roll with it. But yeah, like how many people do you think genuinely are like, I want to go out tonight, like every single weekend? Like, I think, I think once one or two people are like, I don't feel like going out. Let's just like hang out as friends and like have a genuine, like, let's go get dinner or let's go get one drink at a
That's so
nice
funny.
restaurant.
Yeah, because someone's like, there's always someone in the room who's like, oh, thank God you said that. Like,
Yep. Yep.
I didn't want to go out. Like, and then you're just like, oh, why didn't you say that? And it's like a social pressure. And I think
Mm-hmm.
also people get college can get boring on the weekends because like you just got done class and like if you're not really into fitness or like a
Mm-hmm.
hobby like playing an instrument or like you are involved in like church really heavy, so you're busy on the weekends, you're at church and doing like
Mm-hmm.
charity things, like you are going to have free time and boredom is the devil's playground. So you're gonna be bored, just like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let's go out tonight and like drink a bunch. And I'm not going to say, but people are going to do a bunch of degenerate things. So
Yeah.
I think
One
that's a
thing
great point
leads
you
to
made though.
another.
There's always someone in the room who's like, oh my God, thank God, I did not want to go. Or you even
Yeah.
take a second to slow down in the bar and really look around. If you read people's body language, everyone's like, at least a lot of people are kind of like frowning and being like fake happy. And like they're on their phone, like just tired, like, ugh, like not even talking to people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been me too, though. Like, it's like, do we all really want to be here? And I think a lot of the time the answer is no.
Yeah. Well, it's such an interesting it it's so interesting to me because, being in it, like you and I were both in it for like a good 4 years of our lives. So it's like it's just so interesting to me why we all do it if we don't really want to. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's yeah, just like why? What is the driving factor in these
If you could
decisions?
boil it down to three things, what would you say it'd be? Like, what three things? Because I guess like there's never like a perfect answer. Like you could be
Mhm.
like, there's pressure, there's like some expectation, or like I don't
Mhm.
know, you want to like fill a void or something. Like, what's your like three things you think that like drive that almost like decision? Like, okay, I'll just, you know what, I'll go out tonight. Like you're like
Mhm.
silent, you say, and even though you don't really want to go, you're like, oh, I guess I'll go out.
Yeah, I'll try to look at it from I guess like what I would have said. Like if I were thinking about me, I think societal pressure, I'll say pressure in general, like both societal and internal pressure, because
Mhm.
I transferred after I stopped playing soccer. I had to I filled that void. Now that I'm really really thinking about it, I filled my college soccer like experience that void with going out and partying. I took
Because
being in a fraternity.
you weren't as busy, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I had to fill it, and so like I filled it with I treat a lot of things like a sport sometimes, and
Yeah.
I treated being a college student like a sport when I stopped playing a sport.
Mm,
So it was like
yeah.
if I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna drink the most. If I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna go out the most. If I'm gonna party, I'm gonna party the most.
Yeah.
I wanted to like shatter records. You know what I mean? So I had that pressure on me, and then and then societal is obviously like your friends and everything,
Mhm.
and then. I guess the other two that I would say what really would get people to I think just for so long that's just the expectation of college. That is just like what we view it as. So it's like that's what we think we're supposed to do. Like you and I talk about this all the time. Like when people are like, "Oh, but go have fun. Like you're in college, go have fun." And it's like I have more fun waking up early, getting a workout in, having a clean meal, reading my Bible, like hanging out with one person and like, like really like getting to know a human being in
Yeah.
like brotherhood, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's the expectation and the label that we put on going out is fun. That's what like they want you to like
Yeah.
it's fun. That's what you do when you have fun. And then they think if you don't do that, then you're not having fun. So then
Yeah.
you go out because you want to be fun and you want to be happy. Like the amount of times I went out and I'm like, why am I not actually happy? Like what the heck? Like I thought this is what I wanted but it's
Yeah.
not. You know what I mean? Because
Exactly.
that's when I was like for example, like they're like a bar. It's really really loud. So like say you're talking to someone that you don't know very well. Like this is how my brain would work.
Mhm.
I'd be talking to them and say I can't really hear them that well because of how loud it is and like everyone's drinking. If I mishear them and I say something, then I start overthinking and I replay the conversation. I'm like, oh, did I say the wrong thing? Like, do
Yeah.
they think I'm weird? Like, I
Even
don't
in
really know
today's
them that
world, you gotta
well.
watch what you say anyway. So like
Yeah,
even having a normal sober conversation can be daunting because you're like, I don't want to
yeah,
offend
yeah.
you or use like
Hmm.
misgender you or something in today's world. So it's honestly scary when you're sober sometimes because you're like,
Yeah.
shoot,
And then, but for example, like you and I, like if we hung out, worked out, like we when we would have those epic steak feasts, like
yeah,
feel like I am like naturally like I overthink anyways, but like if I'm just with you, like it's like so minute that it's like
yeah,
I'm not like freaking out. It's like, dude, like I'm hanging out with my friend. Like there's no like pressure anywhere to be anything that like I'm not. You know what I mean?
yeah. And I
And
think it's cool you said too, like it's like you just hang out with one person. It's like like people are always constantly. I'm not saying like me and you specifically, but I think people have like a weird tendency when they want to see someone they know, like it's always like inviting them to a bar in some like big group
mhm,
setting. It's like first off, if you really want to see me and like you'll contact me via my cell phone, like people who actually know you have your number, and they'll be like,
mhm,
let's go do something together, me and you, or in
yeah,
like a very small group. I think it's very, I don't know, it's become very strange. I think like relationships and connections aren't getting as deep as they used to just because of like phones and stuff. But like
yeah,
great point you make. 'Cause I'm always like thinking like, why can't we just hang out alone? Like, why can't we just literally enjoy each other's company and like grab
mhm,
a coffee or something? Like, and but in
yeah.
today's world, that's asking a lot. It's asking a lot for you to talk to someone without them going on their phone every 2 minutes. So it's become like legitimately, it's becoming actually kind of difficult.
Yeah, it's hard. And that okay, that's another good point to go on to like societal expectations and all of those types of things. The
Mhm.
phone. That leads into another thing that I wanted to talk about. One, I think when people see that people are posting, dude, you know how many times like it's the people that have the worst night going out with their phone and they're like,
Yeah,
"Yo,
that
like
was me,
last
bro.
night
That
was a
was that was
movie."
that was me at a certain point, bro. I was like recording and posting everything when I was out. And and this is me being 100% transparent. I was doing that because I was like coping, trying to make myself seem like I was
Mhm.
having fun. I'm like
Yeah.
almost mention it's like it's a great point you made, is because if we were all that happy and like legitimately like so present and focused in the
Wouldn't
moment,
be on it.
we wouldn't have time to reach for the phone. It's like I
Yep.
see it's crazy too. I love you brought this up. I'll see like adults like constantly posting pictures of their babies and like I get it, like you want to share and stuff, but like
Mhm.
people constantly posting what we're doing, and I am fully convinced if someone was really that happy and that present, like in the moment, there would be no time to grab the phone and like do
Yeah.
all the extra stuff. But I'd love to hear your opinion on that because I don't want to be judgy, but like
Mhm.
some people, man, the amount they post, I'm like, I don't know how you have any mental energy because social media is exhausting, first off.
I agree 100 I agree 100%, and that's why I'm glad we have conversations like this. Because like I told you before we started recording, it's gonna be so casual that we really keep it's like a very free flowing, it's a very, very fluid conversation, so I like that these things got brought up.
Mhm.
I'm with dude, I agree 100%, and these thoughts have actually come in my mind a lot lately. I've really been thinking about like why do we have social media? Do you know what I mean? Like if you take out the whole like take out like connecting like and talk, like I think it's very cool that we can talk. Like if we didn't have social media, we couldn't do this. Like
Yeah.
we wouldn't have this. So like it's a very good tool when used appropriately. But it's like it's almost like there's a pressure to post the highlights of your life. Like think about this. Like when, you get married,
Yeah.
people expect you to post about it, and then it's like, "Oh, if I don't post about it," like graduation, this is
It's like
exactly what.
it's weirdly like offensive to some people. They'll be like, because
Yeah.
like that's it's so weird. It's like our main way of communicating with certain people. Like
Mhm.
we're maybe not like super close with, but pretty close with. Then you like or go ahead about graduation, but I guess I'll say like people get like offended. They're like, "Where you been, Chaz? You haven't been on Instagram." It's like I've been
Mhm.
in the real world doing like
Yeah.
my actual things I need to do, like taking
Yeah.
care of myself and like going to work.
Yeah. I think the important question is to ask yourself in a lot of situations is, would I still be doing this thing if I couldn't post about it?
Or if no one else was doing it, would I be
Hmm.
doing it? Like
Yeah.
another one. Like
Yeah. Like think about because like I've been on a couple like work trips recently, and I went to Nashville, and I've stayed in like nice hotels, like cool events, like very blessed to be in these opportunities. And I could have so easily, and this isn't to like hype me up because I still
yeah.
have these internal thoughts. Like, say, like my favorite drink is like espresso martini. Like,
Mhm.
I could take a picture of the drink of the background in a nice hotel with a Nashville filter. Like, I could.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
technically could, and then everyone's gonna know I was there.
Someone would swipe up and be like, "You're in Nashville? Oh my gosh!" And you're
Hmm.
drinking. It's
Yep.
like,
Yeah, but then it's like it's almost like when you mature, I think there's a greater, and I'm not even all the way there yet. I'm just saying, like, I would assume so.
yeah,
Like, there's a greater satisfaction in doing things, and nobody knows except the people that need to know. Like your close friends, like, oh, like, how was your weekend? Oh, I went here. I did this. Like, here's a cool picture in my camera roll, my private camera roll that
yeah,
no one else is gonna see. I'm gonna show you because I care.
yeah,
And so it's so interesting. Like I struggled with this with fitness. 'Cause, like, I balance or, like, I'm, like, trying to figure out, like, okay, like, yes, this inspires and uplifts people, like, it's a positive message, but would I wanna get this lean if I didn't post a picture of it? Because
yeah.
ultimately, at the
Like,
end of
why
the
am I?
day.
It's like a why am I doing this thing? And you're
Mhm,
constantly like, why am I on my phone this much? Like, why do I want to share this? It's like such a nagging question. It's hard to be honest with yourself too.
mhm,
I'll be honest. I stopped posting online because I was like, why am I like really doing this? It was a combination of that. And it was like I knew I could help people with like certain tips and like life stuff and
mhm,
fitness stuff because I've been doing it a long time and I'm a pretty healthy person. Then I was also like, why am I doing this? And then third, I was just like, the social media is exhausting. And I
mhm,
just stopped. I don't know if like
draining,
I don't know if you can relate to that, but I was just like,
mhm.
I'll just go work a normal job for a while, see if I like it, and then
That's such a good point, and I like the way you ended that with normal job. I think that is such an interesting
work
topic.
like normal. What is normal job? Like
Yeah, well, also, like, why is that, like, frowned upon these days? Like, here's a scenario I'll paint for you. Like, two different scenarios. One would be a good example of, like, a normal job, one would be, like, bad. So, like, the bad one would be you work a job that you don't like, you have a bad lifestyle because 'cause you're just lazy, and you don't like you're not physically fit, you're not you're not connecting with God, you're not doing these things, and then you have a bad marriage where you're not like Christ isn't the center of your marriage. You're not like in it till you die. Like the second things go off, like you could get a divorce,
yeah.
and you have a weird relate like you have a poor relationship with your kids as well. Um, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like that is a poor example. But then if you're in a job that's fulfilling and you have a like a godly marriage and you love your kids and like your wife and what you do, there is nothing wrong with nobody else on earth knowing who you are. Do you know what I mean?
I love that too. It's like being invisible is such like a like because it also brings about peace of mind or like no one knows about our business. We're
Mm-hmm.
good. I just come home and like me and my wife and kids, like that's like an amazing life. And people like
Mm-hmm.
always try to like throw shade at like a 9 to 5 job. Like, first off, like owning a business is stressful and like you can make just as much money in a good 9 to 5. And second off, like you literally could just like I know like the lifestyle, like being on social media, being a celebrity, being in the limelight's cool, but like I think it's so cool. Some people are just literally invisible. They don't use social media. They come home from work, they're just genuinely so fulfilled. And it's like them
Mm-hmm.
and their kids and wife eating dinner, and then they all do like they play like Guitar Hero or something dumb at night. It's like that sounds
Mm-hmm.
amazing. I'd rather have that than like a bunch of sports cars and like three
Yeah.
girls kind of them dating. It's like it's almost like it's like weird how it's weird how things are purported nowadays, but I think like that invisible
Mm-hmm.
lifestyle, like you said, where you're just so fulfilled all the time, where you're like, if you're so fulfilled, you're naturally gonna go away from your phone And if you're less fulfilled, you're gonna be like posting things a lot.
Yeah.
I think I genuinely believe that.
I think that's where I also wanted to get into this. It's really cool how everything's like coming together on here on like it's a really powerful talk. Um I where was I going with this? Oh yeah, I think that's where the red pill community, so to
Oh yeah.
speak, has like gone wrong because it was almost like a like men need to work hard, men have like their backs against the wall, like do this, this, and this and this to get a wife and kids and raise a family so that you can live a lifestyle with like cars and like trips and money and it's like
Mhm.
it's like almost the right like it just veers off like to be super materialistic. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Where it's
exactly.
like live a
Yeah.
life that would look good on social media, but why can't it be like put God first?
Why not live a life when you're not on social media at
Yeah.
all?
Put God first. Yeah, exactly. Like live a life with no social media that you're still happy about. You know,
Yeah.
God at the
I
center
mean,
of it, and then family oriented, and then you're smart with your financials, and then I mean, like money like
yeah, and you can
comes
take your
and goes.
family, you can take your family on trips and like do certain like cool
Exactly.
experiences, but like not like the like a status signaling is really big for males. So like males want to have like nice cars, nice clothes, but like I know millionaires like who I've worked for at like my like minimum wage jobs because they own the business, literally drove Hyundais, like or
Hmm.
excuse me, not Hyundais, Hondas. And I was like, that's crazy, but they're just like so humble. And it's like, why do I want a sports car? It's just gonna be a bunch of problems. And like I have like a wife and kids. I don't need to be like
Hmm.
this cool guy in a sports car. It's like when you feel good about yourself and your like your beliefs in your life, you don't like need to go buy that. And granted, like sports cars are fun. So if you want one and you genuinely want it, then like that's your thing. Like, cool, man, enjoy
Hmm.
life. It's like cars are a cool experience. But it's like you said, the red pill community got so materialistic about like women and cars and almost like shaming women too hard too. I don't know if you agree.
Hmm.
'Cause men are the problem too. I think the red pill community definitely got aggressive.
Yeah, yeah. I think it turned into like a we like us versus them,
Yeah.
and it's like there's guys that aren't doing the right thing and there's girls that aren't doing the right thing. I was
Mhm.
watching a podcast. I'll send you this guy's channel. A lot of good stuff. Um, he called like the red pill community. It's essentially it's like meninism. It's like man feminism. Like
Isn't this called like incels too? Where they
yeah,
where they like
I
they like kind of alienate themselves from society and they're like women are the whole like they're like the reason for all
yeah,
bad in the world. It's like it's really weird.
yeah. I vaguely like I know the term, but I vaguely like know about it.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just like a doomer like black pill philosophy almost where it's
Yeah.
like everything
Black
is like
pill.
stacked against you, like oh like genetics are the only reason like this guy looks good, that guy like and it just got super materialistic super quick. But I think people are realizing that and it's not even like when I say that I don't want to come across hypocritical because I think there's so much value in yes, working hard and like having traditional values, but it shouldn't like segue into like an Instagram life. Like it should
Yeah.
be a humble like if you feel like for example like the irony behind it I guess you could say is like we're saying this on a podcast. Like we're saying it on something that other people are going to listen to, but it's genuinely like informative and like to uplift and that's like what social media in my opinion was supposed to be used for. Like information. It's not mindless. And so I don't think there's nothing wrong with if success and being well known is a byproduct of what your career is, but you put God at the center of it and it just happens to get recognized, it's just a bigger platform to share your
Yeah.
faith. Do you know what I mean? We need people in the world with bold faith who are going to speak up for what they believe in because it's oversaturated with dorks
Yeah.
who don't believe anything.
I was reading a book earlier and it was like one of like the main because we're always on our phones. Like no one can deny it. I will not deny it. I'm addicted to mine. Like it's
Mhm.
like it said in a book too. It's like it's the way information spreads. Like so quick, information's constantly flowing from country to country, person to person. It's like it said in the book, it was like social media is like the number one tool Satan uses to like distract you, keep you in fear, um, make you envious, like which is
Mm-hmm.
also horrible for your brain. It Social media also is insidious because it slowly makes you lose interest in your own life and you become infatuated with the lives of others. And
Wow.
someone said this
Yeah.
too, where it's like even when you put your phone down and like you're trying to take a break, you'll still get those crazy negative thoughts where you're like, what's the point of me going to the gym today? Like, I might as well just go on my phone and like watch other people do it. Like it's crazy. It makes you like
Mm-hmm.
apathetic and less interested in like your own life and your family. It's so like poisonous for your brain. I don't know if you can like relate to that because I can too. I'll start following people
Oh
too
yeah.
much. I'm like, why am I so concerned with what you're doing?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, dude, that's so powerful what you said though. I mean, like it's all so distracting, and that's why you really need to have self-control and discernment and just be diligent with like and flee from the things that are not good for your eyes, your ears, your mouth, like your soul, like everything, like flee from what's like bad for you.
Yeah.
Um,
And I agree what you said too before I forget. It's like
mhm,
there's so many like I'm trying to use the right language here because I get like annoyed by these people, but there's so many people with bad discernment on the internet who are like purporting falsehoods or being degenerates or like influencing the youth that
mhm,
like, it's become it's almost become a thing where like social media is like a war ground and it's
yeah,
all the
battlefield.
degenerate YouTubers telling people to like play video games, do drugs, treat girls like trash, and like have one night stands. Then there's like the David Goggins and like the military vets and
Mhm,
like your boss John Gordon, like Ed Milet, like those motivational cleaner guys, and they're like have like have like a good work ethic, have like good faith, be like a good person, be disciplined, like do what
mhm,
you know you have to do regardless how you feel. And like social media is like this huge war ground, and
yeah,
the algorithm definitely favors the negative people. So I think what you said, it's like it's almost become a thing where it's like, man, you almost feel like obligated to like say something.
mhm. That's really powerful. I mean, like we're in a battle of good and evil every day, spiritual warfare all the time. So I mean that's very very smart, very insightful that you say that. Like it is a battleground. And side note here, we're about to wrap up. We have a minute left. But yeah, I just think that super powerful stuff, and I agree. I think we need to just be watchful, be mindful of what we consume. But yeah, Cole, thank you so much, brother, for being on. First
I
first
appreciate it.
episode of Conversations with Chaz, and we're gonna have you back on sooner rather than later, brother.
Appreciate it, bro. It was a lot of fun. That was a really like powerful conversation. Appreciate you having me
I
on.
agree. I agree. God bless, brother.
God bless you, bro. Peace.